Welcome to AITA, the subreddit where people share their real-life conflicts and ask if they're the asshole in the situation. Today's story is about a tough situation that blew up over something as simple, yet complicated, as a tattoo. It's about me, the original poster, OP, and my girlfriend. What started as a small disagreement about a tattoo quickly spiraled into a full-blown argument, testing the strength of our relationship. I'm a 29-year-old guy, and my girlfriend, let's call her Mia, is 27. We've been dating for almost 3 years now. We're pretty close and usually see eye to eye on most things, or so I thought. Recently, Mia got a new tattoo that I honestly think is horrible. It's big, bold, and in a spot that makes it really noticeable. But here's the thing. Mia loves it, and I'm having a really hard time accepting it. This tattoo isn't just about the design itself. It's what it represents to her and how she chose to get it without talking to me first. I'm not a controlling person, but this felt different. It's brought up feelings I didn't expect, and the tension between us has been rising ever since she showed it to me. I want to be clear. I respect Mia's right to make her own choices, but I can't help feeling hurt and frustrated. This conflict made me wonder, am I the asshole for being so upset about a tattoo? Or is it normal to feel this way when something like this happens in a relationship? Stick around, because this story is full of twists and emotions you won't want to miss. Mia has always been someone who expresses herself through art, especially tattoos. She has about a dozen tattoos already, ranging from small symbols to bigger pieces that cover her arms. Each one tells a story or marks an important moment in her life. To her, tattoos are more than just skin decorations. They're a form of identity and personal history. I've always admired Mia's confidence and creativity. But to be honest, tattoos have never really been my thing. Growing up, my family wasn't into them, and I never really thought about getting one myself. I guess that's why I was caught off guard when Mia started talking about her next tattoo idea a few weeks ago. She was excited and wouldn't stop mentioning it, but I wasn't sure how to react. Deep down, I felt uneasy, even though I tried not to show it. We've been together for almost 3 years, and I thought we had a solid relationship. We share a lot, from hobbies to future plans, and I've always respected Mia's freedom to make her own choices. But this tattoo situation felt different. It wasn't just about the ink. It was about how she went about getting it, and what it symbolized. I started noticing the signs early on. The secretive conversations, the late-night visits to tattoo parlors, and the mysterious appointment she didn't want to talk about. My gut told me something big was coming, and when she finally showed me the tattoo, I realized how serious it was. I wanted to support Mia, but my feelings were tangled. I was worried this tattoo would change how I saw her, or worse, change our relationship. That's when the tension really started to build. Would I be able to accept this new part of Mia, or was this the beginning of a major conflict? A few weeks before the big reveal, Mia finally opened up about the tattoo she wanted. She told me she was planning something bold, a big tattoo placed somewhere very visible. She wouldn't say exactly what it was, only that it was deeply personal and meaningful to her. I could tell from the way she spoke that this wasn't a casual decision or just about the design. It was something she'd been thinking about for a long time. I tried to keep an open mind, but I couldn't help feeling uneasy. I told her I was worried about how noticeable it would be, especially since it might affect her job or how people saw her. I also admitted that I wasn't sure if I'd like it, especially if it was huge or in a place she couldn't easily cover up. My concerns were gentle but honest. Mia didn't seem bothered by my discomfort, She said this tattoo was about her own journey and identity, something she needed to do for herself, not for anyone else. She brushed off my worries, saying I didn't need to understand it right now, but that I'd eventually see why it mattered so much to her. She kept the details vague, which only made me more anxious and curious. What could be so important that she would make such a permanent and visible statement? Was I going to be able to accept this side of her? The unknown made me nervous. The waiting felt like a countdown to a moment I wasn't sure I was ready for. Still, I wanted to support her. I told myself to trust her judgment, even if my heart wasn't fully on board yet. Little did I know the tattoo would bring up feelings I wasn't prepared for. Feelings that would challenge how I saw Mia and our relationship. Then the day came. Mia walked into our apartment excited but a little nervous. She lifted her shirt to show me the new tattoo, and I was immediately taken aback. It was huge, sprawling across her chest, right below the collarbone. The design was bold, with sharp lines and dark shading that made it impossible to ignore. The words, written in an elaborate script, read, "Forever Brian's." I froze. I didn't know what to say at first. The tattoo wasn't just big or noticeable. It was deeply personal in a way I hadn't expected. Brian was the name of Mia's late fiancé, someone she had loved years ago before we even met. Seeing those words permanently inked on her skin felt like a punch to the gut. It was a constant reminder of a past I wasn't a part of, and a loss she still clearly carried with her. I tried to mask my shock, but my disappointment showed. I was hurt, not just by the tattoo itself, but by the fact that she hadn't talked to me about it beforehand. I felt like she'd made a huge decision that affected us both, without including me. Mia explained that the tattoo was her way of honoring Brian, keeping his memory alive in a permanent way. To her, it wasn't just a design. It was a tribute to the person who had meant everything to her during a dark time in her life. She said it gave her strength and comfort, and that she wanted me to understand how important it was. But as I looked at the tattoo, all I could think about was how it might affect our future. Would other guys see it as a constant reminder of someone else? Would I ever be able to compete with a memory inked so clearly on her body? I didn't want to be jealous or controlling, but these questions haunted me. That night, I lay awake wondering, could I accept this tattoo and everything it represented without it tearing us apart? Not long after Mia revealed her tattoo, the first serious argument erupted. I couldn't hold back my feelings any longer. I told her honestly how hurt and uncomfortable I was seeing "Forever Brian's" inked on her skin. It felt like I was competing with a memory, not just a name. I needed her to understand that this tattoo wasn't just about Brian. It was about us, our relationship, and how I saw our future together. Mia didn't back down. She stood firm, insisting that the tattoo was her personal choice and her way of honoring someone important in her life. She said I was making it about me when it wasn't. To her, it wasn't a threat to us. It was a part of her healing and identity. She reminded me that she hadn't forced anything on me before, so I should respect her decision now. Feeling ignored and disrespected, I raised my voice. I asked how she could make such a permanent decision without discussing it with me first. It wasn't about control, I said. It was about feeling valued and included. But Mia saw it differently. She accused me of being jealous and insecure, making our disagreement even worse. Our friends and family soon got involved. Some sympathized with my feelings, saying a tattoo like that could be a serious issue in any relationship. Others sided with Mia, emphasizing that her body was her own, and she had every right to make her own choices without judgment. The conflicting opinions only fueled our tension. The emotional stakes were high. I questioned whether we could move past this or if the tattoo was a sign of deeper problems. Mia grew defensive, and I felt like we were drifting apart. The doubt crept in. Was this a deal-breaker for me? Could I learn to accept something that felt so personal and painful? As the argument ended without resolution, the question hung heavy between us. Was there any way to repair the damage, or was this the beginning of the end? After the tension cooled slightly, I decided to try a different approach. I wanted to find a middle ground where we could both feel heard. I suggested a few options. Maybe Mia could consider a cover-up tattoo, something that incorporated the old design but made it less obvious. Or if she was open to it, removal was an option too. I also asked if she might have waited longer before getting it done, giving us more time to talk and understand each other's feelings. Mia's reaction surprised me. She was firm and clear. This was her body, her choice, and she wasn't going to compromise on something so important to her. She said she appreciated my feelings but refused to let anyone dictate what she did with her skin. This tattoo wasn't about anyone else's opinion. It was about honoring her past and strength. I felt stuck, caught between loving someone I wanted to support and feeling powerless over a decision that affected us both. I started to question if Mia truly respected my feelings, or if this was something she prioritized over our relationship. The silence between us grew heavier. I wondered if this was a sign of deeper incompatibility. Was I willing to accept the tattoo and everything it represented? Or was this the moment where our paths would finally diverge? The suspense lingered. I didn't know if we could find common ground, or if this conflict would push us apart for good. Feeling overwhelmed and unsure, I decided to share our story on the subreddit r/AITA, hoping for some outside perspective. I laid out the situation honestly. My discomfort with the tattoo, Mia's strong feelings about it, and how it was causing a rift between us. I asked the community if I was being unreasonable or if my concerns were valid. The responses flooded in quickly, and they were all over the place. Some people were incredibly supportive of my feelings, saying it's natural to feel uneasy about a permanent reminder of an X on your partner's body. Others criticized me for trying to control Mia's body or being insensitive to her grief and healing process. A few took a neutral stance, encouraging us both to communicate better and understand each other more deeply. Reading these reactions made me realize how divided opinions can be on something so personal. Some comments made me feel validated, like I wasn't overreacting. Others left me more confused, wondering if I was unfairly judging Mia or letting my insecurities cloud my judgment. The community's mixed feedback forced me to reflect on my own feelings and biases. Was this really about the tattoo itself? Or was it about something deeper? Trust, respect, or fear of losing her? The question weighed heavily on me as I wondered if there was any hope for us. The suspense stayed with me. Would I find clarity through this feedback, or would it only deepen the uncertainty about our future together? I took some time to think about why the tattoo bothered me so much. It wasn't just the image on her skin. It was the meaning behind it. I realized that I feared I could never compete with a memory, that I might always feel like second best. It tapped into my insecurities about being truly accepted and loved for who I am. I feared that Mia's heart was still tied to Brian in a way that left little room for me. From Mia's side, I began to understand the tattoo's significance differently. It wasn't just a name. It was a symbol of love, loss, and resilience. For her, it was a way to carry Brian's memory with her, a part of her story that shaped who she was. It was emotional armor, not a barrier meant to push me away. Though we hadn't fully reached a place of empathy, I could sense the beginning of understanding between us. We both held strong feelings that needed respect, and the real challenge was finding a way to honor those feelings without tearing us apart. The tension between us hadn't disappeared, but the silence was now filled with possibility. Could this moment be the turning point? Could we find a way to meet in the middle? Or was the distance growing too wide to cross? The suspense lingered. The future of our relationship still uncertain, hanging in the balance. After days of tension and silence, Mia and I finally agreed to have the serious conversation we'd been avoiding. We sat down in the living room, both nervous but knowing this talk could change everything. The air was heavy with anticipation. I started by sharing my feelings, how the tattoo made me feel insecure and sometimes invisible, like I was living in the shadow of someone who wasn't even here anymore. I admitted it hurt me deeply, but I also made sure to tell her I loved her and wanted us to find a way through this. Mia listened quietly, then opened up about how the tattoo was a part of her healing, a tribute to Brian's memory that gave her strength every day. She explained that it wasn't about holding on to the past, but honoring it while moving forward. She wanted me to understand that it wasn't a rejection of our relationship, but an extension of who she was. The conversation grew raw and emotional. We both cried, apologized, and tried to hold on to the love that still connected us. But the reality was clear. We faced a crossroads. Either I accepted the tattoo as part of Mia's story and found peace with it, or we risked letting this difference tear us apart. The room felt charged, the suspense unbearable. Neither of us wanted to lose what we had, but we knew the decision couldn't be rushed or forced. This moment was the turning point, the moment that would decide if we could keep building together or if we'd have to walk separate paths. After that night, Mia and I took some time to reflect individually. It wasn't an easy process, but when we came back together, we agreed to move forward with a deeper respect for each other's feelings. I promised to work on my insecurities and not let the tattoo overshadow what we shared. Mia agreed to be more mindful of how her choices affected me without compromising who she was. The tattoo stayed, but it no longer felt like a barrier between us. Instead, it became a symbol of our complicated, imperfect love, something we had both grown through. Our relationship dynamic shifted. Communication became more open and honest. We learned the importance of patience, empathy, and accepting that love doesn't always look perfect. There were still hard days, but we faced them together, stronger than before. In the end, the tattoo didn't break us. It challenged us. It forced us to confront tough truths about trust, identity, and commitment. And from that challenge, we found a new beginning. One built not on perfect understanding, but on acceptance and growth. The suspense that once clouded our future lifted, replaced by cautious hope. We didn't have all the answers, but we had each other, and that made all the difference. Looking back on everything, I realized this whole tattoo situation was about so much more than just ink on skin. It exposed our vulnerabilities, fears, and the ways we struggled to truly see and accept each other. At first, I focused on the tattoo itself, how it looked, what it meant to me. But now I understand it symbolized deeper issues: trust, respect, and how we navigate love when our pasts don't fully align. I want anyone reading this to remember that relationships are complicated. Sometimes, the things that bother us aren't about the surface, but about what's underneath. Our insecurities, our past wounds, and our hopes for the future. It's okay to feel hurt or confused, but it's also important to listen, to try and walk in the other person's shoes. I'm sharing my story here because I want to hear from others. Have you ever faced a situation where something seemingly small became a huge emotional hurdle? How did you handle it? I'd love to get your thoughts, advice, or even similar stories. This isn't the end for me or Mia, and maybe it won't be the end for others who relate to this struggle. For now, I'm holding on to hope and patience. There might be more chapters to come, more challenges and growth. So stay tuned. Thanks for reading and being part of this journey with me.